Okay.
I got one of the historical volunteers coming out.
running your stuff?
Huh? I never know all the box. Jolene never showed up. You know how she runs.
Yeah, Tiff's still asleep probably.
Yeah. I told her, I said, it starts at 9. And she's like, okay. So I said, I'll pay the booth space. You can run it. She said, okay. Because she has all her jewelry.
Yeah.
And so I paid the booth space and she never showed up. So I just packed it all up. And
This is either going to last 30 minutes or 5 hours.
I know exactly.
And you can't even do a motion to table because of that resolution.
Yeah, exactly.
So the only thing you can do is a motion to adjourn.
Saturday, but I think we're talking about that Saturday.
Put water anywhere. Yeah.
Wow, this is a nice chair. Oh, good, good. We had dire chairs, probably. You know what I'm talking about? Like we just, at tables.
You know, I never did even look at it or pay attention, so, you know, you had the thing.
That's crazy. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, I know what I did. Oh, the new chairs. Uh-oh. Does it go with pie?
I hope I put it together right.
Does it go with pie?
I did put it together. There wasn't no extra pieces though, you know, so. You put it all together, right? Yeah, there's three. Yeah, there's three. Oh, you did one thing, I don't remember.
Because I got this little short mic, it makes it hard.
Then you might need a regular chair then.
No, it'll go down. Okay, if everybody will take their seats, it's a little bit after the hour of 10 o'clock, and we'll get underway with the meeting this morning. I'm going to call this special called meeting of the Seminole Nation General Council to order at this time, on November 9th of 2024. And Secretary, I ask you to call the roll.
Leanna Sampson, Anthony Conley.
Here.
John Narkemy. Here. Rena Tiger. Here. Anastasia Pittman. Terry Edwards. Ida Gonzalez. Here. Nancy Bixico. Here. Leon Petit.
Here.
John Narkemy. David Narkemy. Sorry, I'm here. Joseph Billy. Dolores Harjo. Here. Karen Fulbright. Here. Ann Borba. Here. Stephanie Lambert. Here. Sina Yeslith. Here. Lottie Cootie. Here. Marilyn Moore.
Not here today because she's ill.
Henson Lena.
Here.
Richmond Larney.
Here.
Wayne Shaw. Tiffany Thunder.
Here.
Catherine McCoy.
Here.
Charlie Hill.
Here.
Tommy Chupko.
Here.
Danita Harjo.
Here.
Willis Dethridge.
Here.
Desiree Emerton.
Here.
I have 22 present and 6 absent.
With a count of 22 present and 6 absent, I declare that we do have a quorum, so we are now in session. I'm going to ask Representative Gonzalez to open us up in prayer today, if everyone will stand.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all the creation that you have bestowed upon us, Lord. We pray that you'll just guide us and give us the wisdom to do what is right for our nation. I pray that all are safe and that you just bless each and every one that's here. For these things I ask in thy holy name. Amen.
Amen. I'm going to ask that the council consider an item under other business. After that, we had already sent out the agenda for this meeting. I was contacted by our food distribution director, Mr. Rex Haley, and he informed us that there was additional funds that came in from USDA. Those funds were specifically for the purpose. Most of you have heard that the USDA had contracted with a single distributor out of Kansas City, and many food distributions across Indian country were being short on the foods that they were being able to distribute to the clients. So therefore, the USDA allowed additional funds to be able to go after items that perhaps certain food distributions weren't able to obtain and were short of. Fortunately, our particular food distribution has not been short and has the inventory to meet the needs of our clients. So the request of the Director for Food Distribution is to be able to utilize this in a special way, and that's what will be considered if the council so deems to place it under other business. Is there any objections to put that item under other business? It can't be addressed at the quarterly meeting. That would be putting them in a position where not enough time to do what they're requesting. I've seen Representative Dethridge and Representative Petit. That's an objection to putting this on other business.
It all depends on when other business is going to be held.
Other business will be held as the final. It's always at the end of the agenda. Whenever we conclude whatever, even if items are tabled or withdrawn or however that is, then it will go in that order once those measures are taken. That's where other business constitutionally is placed. Actually, code of law is placed right there at the end of a council meeting.
I have an objection to it then, because my objection is that my band has asked me to make a motion to table today's meeting because of the non-consistency throughout the whole Constitutional Revision Committee amendments or suggested amendments, and so it's too convoluted for, I don't even know what we're doing here today. And so I would love to do something with with food distribution, but I've been asked to make a motion to table this meeting because it's too unclear.
Well, I think when we get to the,
Ask for a second on that.
you are going to take $65,000 and throw it down the drain if you do this. This is what, and I'm a long-term person that stands with this, as far as the nation is concerned and the needs of our people. I think you would still be fulfilling what your band is, even if when we get to that item, you table that item and still address the needs of the food distribution program. There is a motion and a second, and I'm just going to share with you, that's what you as a general counsel would be doing. So, Secretary, and we're going out of the order of the agenda because we're not even to that item yet.
If we're not there, then I'll withdraw my motion. You tell me when I can do this motion.
Well, you want to do the meeting. You want to table the meeting. We're already in the session of the meeting. You want to table the items that's been presented under the referendum.
I'll hold off.
Okay, he withdraws that. Representative Petit?
Yes, Chair. I'd like to request that since we're going to go into other business, that we vote on preparing a request for proposal for the Attorney General's position.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the last part of that, Representative Petit.
Okay. It was, we need a tribal resolution directing the issuance of a request for proposal for the position of the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma Attorney General within 30 days of approval. And I would ask that that be in other business, added to other business along with food.
Is there any objections to that? I know that there was a resolution coming at the quarterly meeting pertaining to that, and then we have an existing contract that's in place as well with the Attorney General. We have the one to address the food distribution. Is there any objections to this? We can, if there's none, then that will be added to other business. I saw Representative Fulbright and Representative Cootie.
On this Attorney General vote, if we're going to deal with it on the December quarterly, then, and if we, that's just a couple weeks away. That way it can go to the bands like you guys like.
So is there an objection to this, adding this to other business?
Yes.
We have an objection to that. Representative Cootie.
Why can we not vote on the Constitution and then take up the food distribution separately? Can we not do that?
Oh, yeah, that's how it's done. Other businesses always put as the last item
I think we
under the
vote
agenda.
on the Constitution first and then food distribution.
The historical practice is to place other business at the beginning of the meeting so that everybody knows that we will address other business as the last item of the agenda. So what we have right now is an okay to address the food distribution item, but we do have an objection to Representative Petit's measure to place on other business, and if there is there's an objection, so do we have is that in a form of a motion now, Representative Petit?
Yes, I make that motion.
Okay.
But Chair,
and
I would like to qualify that more. If we are for certain that this will be an agenda item come December, then I'll withdraw this.
It will be. I'm planning on.
And it took us almost 120 days before we hired someone then. And I just want to make sure that coming into the winter months that we have the availability to get that out, and so that we can have, if potentially other firms want to contend for the position, that we got time for that, especially with the January expiration of the current contract.
Well, what we'll do is, it's obviously we're going to put the RFP out because of the time period that, 3 years is coming to a close after the first of the year. So we'll put that RFP out for that purpose already through the procurement office. We'll address any other concerns on the December 7th meeting, the quarterly meeting. You would?
Well, we have that on record, that it will be on the December agenda, then I'll withdraw my request for the motion.
We'll put subject matter of the Attorney General on the agenda, okay, because it sounds like it's a broad item that you want to discuss and not anything in specifics, as I can hear it at this time.
Well, it was just
Okay.
similar to this current proposal here. That's what I want the resolution to read, somewhat similar to that. So, anyway.
Okay, well, yeah, he's withdrawing, placing that under other business. We have one item on other business, and that will be food distribution. Reading of the minutes of the last meeting, not at this time. Representative Lambert?
Chief, can I make a recommendation or a motion to go out of order and put food distribution at the front of the agenda? Right after the reading of the minutes, if we have that.
I know it's under our code, but we have done what we call suspending the order of the agenda to go to other items historically, so you are the governing body and you can do that. So we could take that up, other business. What you're doing at this time is taking an item that's in the tribal code under Title 16, I believe, and placing it and changing the agenda, or suspending the agenda to address another item prior to going forward with the agenda. If that's placed in a motion,
Yes.
and do we have a second?
Second.
Does everyone understand what, okay, it's basically placing other business, going out of order of the agenda and placing other business right now. We don't have any unfinished business, no reports of committees, and then new business is next. So this would be the time to do it. So we got to take that to a vote. General Counsel, Secretary, call the roll on that.
Leanna Simpson. Anthony Connolly.
Yes.
John Narkemy.
Yes.
Rena Tiger.
Yes.
Anastasia Pittman. Terry Edwards. Ida Gonzalez.
No.
Nancy Fixico.
No.
Leon Petit.
Yes.
David Narkemy.
Yes.
Joseph Billy. Dolores Harjo.
Yes.
Karen Fulbright. Ann Borba.
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert.
Yes.
Sina Yeslith.
Yes.
Lottie Cootie.
Yes.
Marilyn Moore. Sorry. Henson Lena.
Yes.
Richmond Larney.
Yes.
Tiffany Thunder.
Yes.
Wayne Shaw. Catherine McCoy.
Yes.
Charlie Hill.
Yes.
Tommy Chepko.
Yes.
Danita Harjo.
Yes.
Willis Dethridge.
Yes.
Desiree Emerton.
Yes.
I have 20 yeses, 2 noes, 0 abstain.
Repeat that, Secretary, please.
20 yeses, 2 noes, 0 abstain.
Okay, that measure does pass, which makes us, the item we are in now is other business. And let me share this with you as far as historical protocols are concerned. A table will place it at the next meeting, okay, which is the quarterly meeting. Which would be fine if that's what's going to happen. The other thing is the committee, is this going to stop them from meeting for any other items if a table comes forth at this time? because they won't be able to take any actions on items of concern.
We have other items of concern right now.
No, we're at the new business preamble of the, actually, we're under other business.
And our other business was the motion, I mean, was the vote that we just took was to move other business to
Yes.
here, and now we're under other business.
Right.
So now
Right.
we're going to talk about food.
And I'm only saying that because I know how fast the council reacts right after we take care of other business, okay? And I'm just saying that to let you know,
We're
the
going to
protocol
take care
here.
of food distribution right now.
That's
And then
exactly.
after that-
Rex, if you're here, come on up, sir. But sometimes you've got to say something before that a motion is taken right afterwards, just to make clarity. I've seen it over 30 years now.
Morning, everyone. As Chief mentioned, that we did get some money from USDA, and what it is those of you that don't know, earlier this year, USDA went to one warehousing company in Kansas City. We used to have two, and one covered one half, the other covered the other half of the United States. But for some reason, USDA went to one warehouse, and they told the warehousing company out of Kansas City, USDA told them, let me back up. The warehouse company wanted 8 months to get ready for the transition for all the tribes in the United States. But USDA told them, no, you've got a month and a half. And everybody knows you can't do that in a month and a half. With that disruption, there's a lot of tribes throughout the United States that their shelves are empty. They are empty. Take for instance, Navajo. They have 7 warehouses. And some of their clients have to drive 2 hours just to go to a warehouse to get their food. Come to find out, their shelves are empty. And we had, at our national conference last month, all that was brought up, a lot of issues. I mean, they was pounding USDA. And, but with us, we've been blessed. We've ordered extra food. And say, for instance, our June order, we didn't get that till August. But we had plenty of food to sustain all of our people. So I hate to say a order, but we kind of did that to be on the safe side, and I'm glad we did. And with this disruption, that USDA come up with a new, it's called a Commodity Credit Corporation, CCC. It's like a little grant, and they wanted us to apply for, so I got permission to go ahead and apply for it. And for different, the regular commands, we got like 64 or 67,000. And then with our CSFP, our elderly box, we got another 11,000 and some change. And with that, we can buy any food we want. It doesn't necessarily have to be what we are already serving now. We can buy whatever we want, as long as it's grown in the United States. That's the only stipulation there. So I got with our staff, and we come up with a plan what we'd like to do. Like for Thanksgiving, when we have around 315 clients on our regular commods and 236 on our elderly box. We want to get everybody a turkey, fits more or less like a holiday basket, I guess you could say, for the clients with all the fixings. And then for December, we want to give them a ham with all the fixings too. And with all this funding, we have 1 year to spend. 1 year, so I know we'll have some extra money, so we'll be purchasing other foods as we go on. And if this disruption keep on continuing, we're hoping that USDA will come back with this CCC funding for next year. And they will apply for it. There's nothing coming from the tribe, it's all USDA 100%.
Rex, were you at the, Representative Etheridge?
When were you informed that you were going to receive this $65,000?
Right after we came back from our conference last month.
So you've known about it for a month?
About a month, yeah.
This is the second time that you came before the council and saying, hey, we've got some money, or hey, we need some money, and you don't show up with a resolution at all. That is bad practice on your part, is what I'm thinking. So from now on, if you know something that's gonna be, that you're gonna receive something, let us know in advance, because I don't like to put something on other business, call Rex Haley up, and have him explain, and you always do an excellent job. It's just that the formality is, you need to follow the formalities.
Okay, I understand.
Thank you.
I apologize for that. I just want to get it quick because the holidays are coming up. And I know we probably could have waited until the quarterly, but I just didn't want our people to miss out. I apologize.
Representative Lambert?
So Rex, do you have a budget for this? Has it gone to finance committee yet?
Yes.
Okay. And do we have the budget here?
That finance committee was last night. Marcia, are you here?
She's over at the OEC.
Oh, she's across the road.
But did they approve the budget?
Yes.
The finance committee approved the budget, and it was for 65, was it all for food, or what was it for?
Yeah, up to the thing you can purchase is food. nothing
Food only,
else.
all food? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Haley? Representative Lambert?
So what you're asking us to do is to make a verbal resolution to pass your budget that was approved last night at Finance Committee for purchasing food with the $65,000. And the reason you want it to be done right now is so that way you can do the Thanksgiving baskets
Yes.
And add it to the comprehensive budget.
and add it to the comprehensive budget.
Yes.
Okay.
It's,
So,
it's like $64, $67 on FDPIR and another 11,000 or something for CSFE. So
Okay.
2 programs.
2 programs, okay. So I make a verbal resolution to pass Rex Haley's budgets that were approved last night at the Finance Committee for the 2 budgets, what were they?
FDPIR and CSFE.
The FDIR and CSCP budgets. And ask that those be added to the comprehensive budget so he can spend those immediately, because I know that Thanksgiving is only a couple of weeks away, and if you're wanting to do that, you're gonna have to get on the ball.
Yes, our staff already got some figures from different, like Fireway, Walmart, stuff like that. We kind of got everything in line, what we want to purchase, so we're just waiting on approval.
Okay.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? I saw Representative Petit's hand, so we'll go with his second. Secretary, do you have that written down?
Yeah, I got it.
Let me see that. This is just for clarification what we're voting on. You got part of it written down. Okay, verbal resolution by Representative Lambert, seconded by Representative Petit, to add this approved by the Finance Committee budget for food distribution to the comprehensive budget. Yes, that's basically it. Those 2 programs, FDIPR and
CSFE, commodities.
yes, make sure you place those in there as well.
FB.
Okay, with that understanding, Secretary, call the roll.
Anthony Conley,
Yes.
John Narkemy,
Yes.
Rena Tiger,
Yes.
Terry Edwards, Ida Gonzalez,
Yes.
Nancy Bixico,
Yes.
Leon Petit,
Yes.
David Narkemy,
Yes.
Joseph Billy, Dolores Harjo,
Yes.
Karen Fulbright,
Yes.
Ann Borba,
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert,
Yes.
Sina Yesley,
Yes.
Lottie Cootie,
Yes.
Henson Lena,
Yes.
Richmond Larney,
Yes.
Tiffany Thunder,
Yes.
Catherine McCoy,
Yes.
Charlie Hill,
Yes.
Tommy Chepko,
Yes.
Danita Harjo,
Yes.
Willis Dethridge,
Yes.
Desiree Emerton.
Yes.
I have 22 yeses, 0 nos, 0 abstain.
With a count of 22 yes, 0 no's, and 0 abstentions, I declare that verbal resolution to have passed. Now we are under new business. And just for clarification, Rex did ask of the chair to try to address this as quickly as possible, and I told him we were having a special call, and it's possible it can be under other business, so we appreciate the council taking care of the issue. Now we are under new business. This is the preamble, this is the discussion of referendum items and possible actions. Representative Dethridge.
Chair, at this time, my band has asked me to ask for a motion to table this particular item. We tried to go through these amendments at our band meeting, and they were so convoluted and poorly put together, in our opinion, that we felt like that it would be an injustice on the Seminole Nation to even attempt to try to figure out what the revision committee is asking. So I asked that we table this item. Ask for a second.
Is that tabled till the next meeting, or tabled? Is there a specific period you want that tabled?
You told me it would be on the.
That's the general practice, but you can make a.
I can get some recommendations if that's what you're asking on.
The reason I say is the December quarterly is going to be rather lengthy. If we address 25 referendum items, that should only be on a special call meeting. But you're tabling the item. If we have a special call meeting, and we won't before the December quarterly, we'll bring it up, and then if the council wants to place it on a special call meeting at a later time, that would be all right. So we have a motion to table in a second. Secretary, call the roll.
Anthony Connolly,
No.
John Narkemy,
No.
Rena Tiger,
No.
Ida Gonzalez,
No.
Nancy Fixico, Leon Petit,
No.
David Narkemy,
No.
Joe Dolores Harjo,
Yes.
Karen Fulbright,
No.
Ann Borba,
No.
Stephanie Lambert,
No.
Sina Yeslett,
No.
Lottie Cootie,
Yes.
Ensign Lena,
Yes.
Richmond Larney,
Yes.
Tiffany Thunder,
No.
Catherine McCoy,
Yes.
Charlie Hill,
Yes.
Tommy Chepko,
Yes.
Danita Harjo,
Yes.
Willis Dethridge,
Yes.
Desiree Emerton.
Yes.
I have 11 yeses, 11 nos, and 0 abstain.
Chairman,
Did I say that? Oh, so I have 11 yeses.
double check that count again, Secretary.
I have 11 yeses, 11 nos, and 0 abstain.
11-11.
Could you verify that count, please? Because I had 11 and 10. I had 11 and 10. Because Ida wasn't here.
Or Nancy wasn't here.
Nancy's representative.
Here's the tiebreaker.
We already voted.
You stay out of it.
Oh, yeah, I see it. I see it. You don't have to break the tie.
Well, that's why you say, please check that vote again.
Okay, I have 10 yeses, 11 noes, 0 abstain.
10 yes and 11 no's? That table has failed. We're in session. So we're right there at the preamble of the Constitution.
Chair.
Representative Fulbright.
Okay, so I understand at some of the meetings that some of the bands were concerned about not being able to decipher some of the stuff, or your representatives that you had put in place didn't do the job for you or something. I don't know. I mean, you weren't happy with them, but you put them in there. You guys put this board together. The chief didn't say this one. You did this. And you put them in there to do a job, okay? This Constitution hasn't been addressed in a long time. And they looked at things that needed to be addressed. And they worked hard. There was research, especially when it comes to this blood quantum. There's a lot you got facts there. That's not just numbers we drummed up. It's facts. And it may not be the facts you like or want to hear.
Representative
I'm just saying.
Representative Fulbright, we're on the preamble of the Constitution.
Well, I'm just saying in general with this, because I know they're not happy with this whole thing, you know. But I don't know if you guys want us to go back and maybe condense it a little bit. That's what I would like to see. But the committee, they wanted to bring everything that they had brought forward. The original plan was to bring everything that needed to be addressed and condense it down to the most important things that we had to address. But at the very end, I believe it was Hajiti, said, you guys worked so hard on this that, you know, you need to bring everything forward. So at that point, that's what happened, and that's why you have what you have.
Let me reiterate here. There was a motion to table and it failed, but that doesn't keep the council from adjourning this meeting and them to take care of their business. You hear some of the concerns here as far as unclarity within the minutes to be able to understand exactly what it is that the revision committee is presenting before the general council. And why was the meeting called? Because that's a process. Revision committee finalized their meetings with their proposed recommendations to the council to place things on the ballot. Whether it's premature or not, that's the process that we have in the Seminole Nation. And if indeed there was going to be a referendum anytime soon, you know, you have to continue on these items and address them, you know, in order for that time frame to be done. But right now, that's apparently there's a very close divide on whether we go forth with these items today, and that's just an option. And there's no discussion on an adjournment, which will then place the revision committee to maybe reach out to the representatives on the committee, and then all the council can place their concerns on these items, and that will keep the process continuing. And then, and when we come to the December meeting, I doubt if that would be ready by then, because we're getting into the holiday season. But that's an alternative right now, okay? That's all I'm doing is suggesting a potential alternative. But if that's not the case that the council wants to move on, we're going through all 25 of these items that's presented before us this day. Representative Cootie.
I think that that would be the thing to do, is just to go back to the bands, and the bands have different ideas and different things to change or suggestion, and that we as committee only suggest and think things the way it should be changed. And so that's what we did. We did the best that we could and everything. So I think that if the bands have suggestions, we need to hear it, we need to bring it back to us so that we can go through it, put it back together, and go from there. And I think that we just only suggested that we knew it was going to go back to the council, and the council would look at it and make suggestions and everything to get back so that we can make those changes if we have to make the changes and then represent it. So I think that's a good idea because I know there's things that we have missed. There may be some words that we shouldn't have used or used. So I think that it's a suggestion from the committees. Now, you're telling us this is what we left out or this is what we need to add in or whatever. And I think that that's what we have to do, and we have to think about our people that we're working for. So I think that would be a good thing, is just get different band, give us suggestions.
I want to reiterate right now, it's the three hands that's raised, and if your hand is raised for adjournment, please give courtesy to the council representatives that have their hands raised before a motion of that type would be made. Not that it would be, but if it was, please give them courtesy. I see Ocheezy Band Representative Mikasuki and then Fuchachi. Ocheezy?
Hello, Chairman. I just wanted to state that when we voted Ms. Watkins in to represent our band, we told her to come back to the band and report to us her intent or what she was planning on doing, and that was never done. And then she had another chance. We had our meeting the other night. She had a chance to answer questions and concerns about this revision committee, but she didn't show either way. So I think it's important that we step back a little bit and revise this in the right way. Take the time to, hear all the concerns of the people, our band members, and everybody. And come back together at a later date and vote on it again. Okay, Madu.
Representative Metzler.
I just wanted to reiterate and piggyback off Representative Fulbright. A lot of research and discussion went into this. And I understand your concern, but she wasn't the only member there or representative. There were several of us there in discussion that night. There were 14. Research was done, as well as you providing historical facts, as well as us getting advice and direction from the AG. So it wasn't just those who were representing the bands there. We had research and asked questions of other people as well.
Representative Nakami Fusachi.
Thank you. I understand everyone's concern, and I agree with Ms. Representative over here that they did meet together to form these resolutions and solutions for this Constitution. But again, we're kind of going into a cycle here. I think by bringing this to us today, I think our job as a council is to look at these choices, make our recommendations. It goes back to the Constitution Revision Committee to effect those changes, then comes back to the council again for final approval, then it goes to the people for a final vote. So by delaying this today, we're just pushing this down the road. We shouldn't do that.
Representative Hamilton.
Yes, another concern that our band had was that when we vote on these things, we would like each item to be voted on separately, not by paragraph, so we can, differentiate between whether we want to accept one part of it but not the other. So if each item could just be separate so we can vote on it, that was one of the things that was mentioned in our band.
That's how we historically do it anyway, is that we go one proposed recommendation to possibly be placed on the ballot. That's historically how we've done it in the past.
Chair, I just got one more statement, if that's okay.
Yes, you have the floor.
I didn't know we had to, when we're sitting on a committee,
that we have to go back to a band every meeting, because that's not, I'm not familiar with that kind of process. My band would never have me do that and dictate to me how I sit on a committee and vote. As a matter of fact, my band lets us use our discretion because things come up during meetings and you know, we have to make decisions, informed decisions that way, but that's just our band. O'Cheesy did not dictate to us what was going to be on this. It was the whole committee. We worked together. This whole committee, I was very happy with them. They all worked together. There was no, if there was a disagreement, there was a good disagreement. And we fed off from each other's energy, you know. And yeah, there is a lot of things. There is some things that the judges, you know, brought forward that to help them with jurisdiction. I mean, things change in this world. I mean, it's changing right now with the new president, you know. I mean, we didn't want felonies serving, you know, and the reason being was we got grants that, I mean, we got directors, we cannot hire those positions if they've had a felony because they handle a lot of money. They handle a lot of money. And if you got a chief signing off on them grants and that money, why can that director, you can have a director with no, but you can have a chief with felony. I mean, there was just that, okay, we need to get things.
We're not at that point yet.
I know, but I'm just saying, we work together.
If we continue in discussion of these items, then we can.
If we can just all throw those comments into your bands, we can have a better.
Yeah, Representative Fulbright, if we do get to those particular discussions on those particular items, then we can discuss it at that time. I will reiterate that the nomination comes from the chief on all committees, boards, and commissions. But historically, we couldn't get this particular committee approved when the past chiefs, decades long, would come and they would ask of certain ones to serve on a constitutional revision committee. So there was what we would call an exception made by the chiefs of those times, and as well as now, that we take recommendations from the bands so that each band would already know who they want to represent them on this particular committee, because it deals with a living document of the Seminole Nation, the Constitution. So that has been allowed, and it's a courtesy of the chief, of all the past chiefs, to do that for the Seminole Nation. But nomination still comes from the chief, confirmation by the tribal council. So that's not any change, it's a courtesy. But every band has autonomy, and how they direct their people who represented them as their mouthpiece traditionally, that's how it works. That's just how it works. Not every band operates that way, but from a traditional way that I was called the mouthpiece when I sat in your position. And I used it to the best of my ability to, not only for the nation, but also my band's representation when I sat on the council. So each one of you is a mouthpiece, and especially on this revision committee, those primaries and alternates are your mouthpiece. And they should, at least in some bands, take whatever they're discussing back to their bands, if that's what they require in those specific bands to do so. Representative Lena, and then we need to get on with business.
Thanks again, Chief. Well, we sat right there on a few of those meetings, and we seen them go through their concerns, their talks, what they were having. But when it came to voting time, we seen them start a vote, in the middle of a vote, stop the vote, because it wasn't going their way. And someone sat right here and explained what they were trying to do. We all stop. Once you start, you don't stop. That's when I was wondering what's going on. That's when I lost confidence in this committee that they had, because it happened more than once. They started a vote, and they stopped the vote, and said, this is what we're trying to do. We sat there and listened to it. So I just want everybody to know, it did happen.
What we have right now is we're under new business, and the First Amendment recommendation by the Revision Committee is the preamble to the Constitution. So that's where we're at unless the council moves in any other direction. So that's where we're at. So take a look at what it says, make any comments of what you see. We're in discussion right now. Is this one of the items on the recommended revisions that council wants to take up at this time? We're going one by one. I see no objection to it. Representative Northam, then Representative Deathridge, then Representative Borba.
All things considered, this is a motion, what is this, a suggestion that adds a reverence to both religious and traditional viewpoints on a higher power. And I see no problem with this, and if at all possible, I would make the motion to accept this.
The first item?
Yes.
Okay, there's a motion to accept the preamble of the Constitution. Is there a second? There's a second by Representative Petit. We are in discussion. Representative Deathridge.
I would like somebody's opinion that maybe have gone to law school on this. So, is it, does the three forms, the three branches of government, do they have to be listed into our Constitution? The legislative, the executive, and the judicial branch, do they have to be put in? We've already established that we have three branches of government. So why do we have to put it in our Constitution? Would be the question that I would ask the AG.
AG, do you want to move to my right, because I have a feeling you'll be asked a lot of questions today, possibly.
There is no requirement to add the three branches of government to your Constitution. You are the...
Here you go. Here you go. Yes.
No, there is no requirement, and it's at your discretion.
So we're still under discussion on this first item.
So my question would be, I hadn't yielded the floor, I don't think. So my question would be, why did we put this in there then? Somebody from the Revision Committee answer that question.
I believe Representative Jessica is on the Revision Committee. Representative Yetler.
Each one of these changes were brought about because of historical issues we've had within administrative and council. So as you all know, the Constitution is our Bible, our Holy Grail. That's what we fall upon. So it was, as in discussion, we felt that it needed to be broken out and said what our branches were, because as you know, in the previous past, it gets convoluted and things, we always have to explain there's three branches. Since the Constitution is what our tribe falls back on, that's why we put that in there.
It would be the question I would have on your response there, ma'am, is if this comes to a vote by the people of the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma, and they say, no, I don't like that one, and they vote no on that, does that eliminate the three branches of government?
It'll eliminate that whole change. As you know, on any ballot, when you vote on things, what we do is we're going to process these. They'll go back to the Constitution revision. If we need to rewrite and add your changes you require in there, your changes will end up on that ballot. And it's just like any other ballot. If they vote no and it fails and goes back to the original.
So we wouldn't eliminate the three branches of government, would we? Or would we?
No, it would
Okay.
eliminate the writing of how the preamble is written. It'll go back to the original preamble.
Okay, thank you.
Chair,
Yes, Representative Fulbright.
one of the, some of the discussion that we had on that, Representative Etheridge, was we need a separation of power. We need separation of power. That was a lot of the discussion in there. And my response is we have a separation of power. We have that currently. But they wanted it in there to show that there was that separation of power. Even though we already have it, they wanted it in there, in writing.
Original Constitution that we can put up on the screen.
And that's been the discussion for years, you know, separation of power. We need separation of power.
And just know, any changes that don't, it'll go back to the original. It'll stay as your original Constitution. We're not, the only changes that are presented is if it passes the vote of the entire people. If it doesn't pass, it will originate back to what the original Constitution states. We're just adding wording or changing wording and to help, I guess you'd say, define how things are and run and operate.
Representative Dethridge.
Chair, I agree that this is going to go back to wherever, but I want to make this perfectly clear. That the hard drill band is going to vote no on any and all of these proposed changes because our band has asked us to table this item. Even though it failed the table, we are still required to vote no on everything. So when y'all hear and y'all take a vote on this, our vote's going to be no's. So even though whether we agree or disagree, our vote's going to be no out of respect for our band.
Of course.
And out of the wishes of our band.
It's always understood.
Thank you.
Representative Narcomi.
Might have to make it larger.
Thank you. I think from our purview from this band, that statement really is kind of not necessary because it still states that. I think to identify the three separate branches, maybe that should be a separate amendment by itself.
Representative Yesleth.
I understand what you're saying as well, but here's what we decided. To be honest, we had tons of changes and we did separate them out. But what we ran into is what it's going to cost to put on the ballot and how many changes in there. And the more that we discussed in each meeting and then come back was condensing it down just because the confusion of everybody here, the confusion of the people as they vote, because it will going to be long ballots, pages and pages of ballots that we didn't want to lose the people. And so I understand, and that we can definitely do that, but that's what was told upon us. Just remember, you're making the ballot lengthy and it's going to cost, and you're going to lose the people as they go. Are they going to read each one and not, vote or vote? So that's the reason why we condensed it down.
Representative Fulbright.
Okay. Maybe we should just vote to bring these back with each resolution, maybe? Like you're saying, condense it where they will know instead of looking at the underlines and stuff like that, to bring it back per resolution so they can vote yes or no on them to make it easier, because it is a lot. And if there's some that if they vote no, then it won't be on the ballot. I think that would be easier to take back to the bands, And that way the committee, they can come back and vote that that's how this is going to be delivered to the council, to the people, because we certainly don't want to leave the people out. All tribal members is what we're here for, even those that aren't privy to attend a meeting, you know, so I make a motion that we just bring these back in a format of resolutions. Master, second.
I don't understand.
Okay.
So, can,
Go ahead, Tina.
so this section is 2 sentences, so each sentence would be a separate resolution, or this whole, because in the one we're talking about, everybody's okay with the first sentence, but not the second sentence, so would that be 2 resolutions? Go ahead.
Well, that's, I guess we also need to, because there is a motion and a second on the floor to accept that whole change. If I understand you all, you want to accept that whole underlying statement. So we either need to withdraw that or vote on that because we already have a motion on the floor for that.
Yeah, and before we move forward, I just want to make one little statement. You know, there's an educational piece to this Constitution. The original Constitution, there's an educational piece that really needs to be adhered to. Any changes need to be considered in that light of what this is. It's a governing document. This is not an operational document. In my opinion, there's many of these changes that are of an operational stance as opposed to a foundation document to govern our sovereign nation. Let's not be lost in what this is. Some of these things bluntly are ignorant of our culture, of our ways, of how we were established. They're not in line with our treaty. They're not in line with those that drafted this and the reasons why. The educational piece is missing. There's been a lot of work, there's been a lot of consideration that has been given to these as they're presented. I realize that. It's not lost on me. But some of these changes are skewed. They're formatted in a way to control, to dismiss, to restrict our voice as a government, our voice as an administration, in the processes of which all of our ancestors fought and sacrificed for. In my opinion, personal agendas need to be set aside. Thoughts of our grandchildren need to be considered. All of those that are going to have to operate under this and how that is going to reshape our government has to be discussed as an educational piece to our tribal members. Perhaps a public forum. Because we all know collectively, as bands, we probably have less than 800 people that are active. In a band meeting collectively, we probably have 100 out of the 14 bands that show up. To represent 20,000 of that voting is what, 15,000? Something to consider as we move forward, whether we continue with the standing motion and second on the floor to accept, whether we adjourn, or whether we continue to discuss this today. So thank you. I'll call these in order that I seen. I seen Representative Narcomi, Dethridge has his hand up, and then we'll go to Yeslip.
Thank you, sir. I agree with you, Assistant Chief. You took the words out of my mouth. That's about what I was going to talk about as well, too. The Constitution is a living document. It is up to us to represent our culture wholly and for what our ancestors had fought for and died for. And we are the descendants of those survivors. So it's important that we put this living document together in a very careful way, in a very meaningful way, so that it represents who we are in reality as a culture and not of a colonialism organization. So we need to kind of step away from that and have it represent who we truly are as a Seminole nation and a Seminole people. That's just my comment.
Thank you. Representative Dethridge, did you have anything, sir?
Yes, I need to find out, is it too late for bands to make recommendations to the revision committee?
It is not.
I understand there's going to be some changes in the revision committee makeup. Oh, geez, he said something. I don't know whether our band, whether the Scale Hardware Band is going to keep the same two delegates. And they may say, hey, you know, we're tired of it. It's too confusing. It's this, it's that. So will we be able to have an opportunity to, if somebody drops out, can we put new people in? And can we go ahead and make recommendations? Because most of this stuff appeared to us at our band meeting that it was nitpicking the present administration. The present administration will be gone, maybe next term, maybe the term after that. But they'll be gone, and new people will be here, and all of a sudden, they're going to be tied, their hands are going to be tied with some nitpicky stuff. So that's the reason that we were asked to just drop this thing, start over. It almost looked as if this revision committee, now I'm not going to say that, but it looked like they were trying to pick out some bands and discriminate against some bands to me.
Yeah, some
and
things
to
can be
others.
left unsaid.
So, but that's again, I yield the floor.
Okay. Representative Yesleth, and then we'll come across.
Okay, again, we are just bringing this to you all. You all still have the input of if you want to accept this or what you would like to look at it, and we'll bring it back to the committee. The committee will in turn bring it back to you all to decide again if this is how you want it or not. This is not a final. This is not a final of yes, this is what we want. We discussed, we've met, this is the changes that were brought about every meeting. Matter of fact, every meeting, as Representative Lena said, we came, some circled back, and we made more changes because after many went back and discussed or researched or read or whatever, or talked to their bands, they wanted more changes. Everything was repeated. I don't know how many times we went over each and every one of them, including others that we eliminated and agreed let's not touch. Now, as far as saying that we have children in our future, I would tell you right now, I was number one to speak up on that. This is written for our kids and our grandkids, because we're not going to be here. You know, we're not going to be here to present this and keep this going. And as far as nitpicking and administrations, it's not current, it's been current and past. It's been everything that we've led up. You've been here, most of you have been here a lot longer than I have and involved a lot longer, but I have been here 3 or 4 times, and I can tell you every term we're split. Every term somebody's with the chief or the assistant chief. Every term a chief is not for all his representatives or his people. Same with the assistant chief. This committee was tired of it.
Kind of take offense to
This committee
that.
come in and agreed that we decided, let's write the changes to where we can all come together. So if you feel that way, I'm sorry, but the 14 of us agreed past historical, moving forward, we wanted it to come together as one. We wanted us to all work together as one, and you all help us to move forward as one.
I mean,
I'll allow
let's do some math.
recommendation there.
We want to reduce something to 2/3. Do you know what 2/3 of 28 is?
Do you understand that we don't have a lot
The
of
answer
people?
is 18.1 something, something, something. So you have to have 19 to get this done, but y'all want to change it to 2/3. You can't ever use fractional deals. You have to put a specific number to make it work. You can't do fractions.
I understand that, but also too, our
Apparently
number.
the rest of it didn't.
Well, our numbers too also reflect of where our bloodline is going. We, not only our bloodline, but as far as how we're trying to make sure everybody's included. If we keep it at current, you're gonna exclude your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. if we don't try to look at our future.
Okay, let's move forward. Representative Petit? Yeah, let's move forward. Representative Petit?
That number's from enrollment. Enrollment provides.
Point of order.
You have a motion and a second.
We do have a motion and a second, and we're in discussion. Representative Petit?
Okay. Chair, I understand each of your concerns, everything, and I understand fractions and stuff like that. But that's what we're here to do is, the committee would ask that y'all review those, review them as your bands, and if the language seems proper that is in these current amendments, then you okay them. If they're not, give us suggestions on what you would like to see changed. This council can vote to make those changes if that's the case. If not, then we'll go back and we'll just assume that everybody feels like these are proper language. That's what we're trying to correct today is language. And there were times at this committee meeting that people made suggestions, and I would base it upon recommendations from their band, that it got voted down. It's a democratic process in there. And these things got voted down. This is the language that we adopted to bring to them. And I think we had the Attorney General review these to make sure they were grammatically correct and everything, so that, and easily understandable. And that's all we're here today to do is, we're not approving these, we're making recommendations for potential changes. Then we'll bring them back to the council for approval, and at that time, possibly if everything's approved, set a date for a potential election later in the future. That's what I understood today was to be. And I just don't know if I'm correct.
All right, thank you, Representative Petit. Representative Chupko.
This time, we done spent too much time on this. Move on.
Okay. Again, I agree. We have 15 minutes. I know we suspended the order a little bit. I don't know if that was inclusive to the time limit on these discussion items, as it's not a resolution, but it is very much noted. Representative Cootie.
Again, I will say, I think the easiest way is to take these back and let the bands make their suggestions, the changes that they want. Let us look at it. And I said before, as a committee, we are only looking at what we think should be in the Constitution. And there's going to be a lot of other suggestions, and we need to look at them. And if we decide that's not what we want, we leave it at it as is. If we have to change it, then we change it. And I know that there are some things that maybe we overlooked. We're not perfect, but, you know, we're like everybody else. There's a committee. They always have to learn as they go along. So my point again is take it back to the bands. Let the band make their suggestion. Give it back to us. We put it in. AG's going to look at it, give it back to us, and it goes before the council again.
Okay, thank you for that. And again, now that we've seen the direction in which the committee is going, there's a lot more interest, as there should be. And this is the process. And I do want to make one remark as opposed to what Representative stated as far as whether a chief or assistant chief is for those that voted or those who did not vote. Take offense to that. Now we have a motion and a second on the floor to accept the preamble. Representative Narkemy.
Call for the vote. There's no other questions.
Okay, we have a call. Secretary, call the roll.
Leetta Sampson.
No.
Anthony Conley.
No.
John Narkemy.
Slow roll it, he's getting there.
John Narkemy.
Yes.
Rena Tiger.
Yes.
Ida Gonzalez.
Yes.
Nancy Fixico,
Yes.
Leon Petit,
Yes.
David Narkemy,
Yes.
Dolores Harjo,
No.
Karen Fulbright,
Yes.
Ann Borba,
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert,
Yes.
Sina Yeslith,
Yes.
Lottie Cootie, Ensign Lena,
Yes.
Richmond Larney,
Yes.
Tiffany Thunder,
Yes.
Catherine McCoy,
Yes.
Charlie Hill,
Yes.
Tommy Chupko,
Yes.
Danita Harjo,
Yes.
Willis Dethridge,
No.
Desiree Emerton.
No.
I have 20 yeses, 3 noes, 0 abstain.
On the count of 20 yes,
No, that's,
yeah, we got that. 20 yes, 3 no, 0 abstention.
I had 5 no's.
You had 5 no's?
This. See,
I've got
Regardless, it passes.
some Conley, Danita Harjo, Dethridge, and Emerton as no's.
yeah, they started out, right?
I've got 5 no's.
They started out. Okay, I'm gonna do it again.
Sorry, there's
Sorry.
been an error in recording that. We're going to take a revote.
Leetta Sampson. No. Anthony Conley. John Narkemy.
Yes.
Rena Tiger.
Yes.
Ida Gonzalez.
Yes.
Nancy Fixico.
Yes.
Leon Petit.
Chair, I have a question. What are we voting on now?
We're doing a recount because there was an error in the recording.
Yes.
David Narkemy.
Yes.
Dolores Harjo.
No.
Karen Fulbright.
Yes.
Ann Borba.
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert.
Yes.
Sina Yeslith.
Yes.
Lottie Cootie.
Yes.
Ensign Lena.
No.
Richmond Larney.
He changed his,
No.
Tiffany Thunder.
Yes.
Catherine McCoy.
Yes.
Charlie Hill.
Yes.
Tommy Chupko.
Yes.
Danita Harjo.
Yes.
Willis Dethridge.
No.
Desiree Emerton.
No.
I have 16 yeses, 7 noes, 0 abstain.
On the count of 16 yes, 7 no, 0 abstentions, the council has voted to accept as written.
Okay, we're on the amendment recommendation number 2, which pertains to Article 3 of the Constitution of the Seminole Nation. And it reads as written in your packets. Section 2, any member of the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma who is at least 35 years of age and who possesses no less than, the current Constitution says 1/4, the change would, recommendation is 1/8 degree of Seminole Indian blood may be eligible for the office of chief and assistant chief. No person who has been convicted of a felony by a court of competent jurisdiction shall be considered eligible for these offices. And basically what that does is the striking out of the pardon of 5 years have passed since release from confinement. This basically would put together if you committed a felony, no matter how many years have passed, you will not be eligible to run for the office if it was to pass in a referendum vote, obviously, and approved to go forward to a ballot by this council. So that's where we're at. Do we have, wow. I don't know who had their hands.
I had a motion on the floor at the beginning to bring us back in a different format. Didn't I? Yes, you did. Well, what happened, and it was a second.
Was there a second?
What do you mean you had a motion? When Brian was chairman?
Yeah.
Now, in the beginning, that would have been out of order. We weren't even
Yeah, we were in the
talking.
middle of the other motion.
We're on the business now. Brian, did this come up?
There was an original motion still from Narcan on the floor.
Yeah, he says yes.
We can revisit.
How did y'all get to this second amendment before you addressed the motion that was already on the floor for the first amendment?
You got lost in like 30 minutes of conversation.
Yeah.
You mean I should have stayed in this chair? Hey, I'm just kidding. No, Assistant Chief does a good job at chairing.
You're sitting in that chair.
I'm sorry, I can't really hear you. Do I have the numbers?
Do you have numbers? I mean, I just want to ask that question because that was a question brought up. All the numbers like enrollment provided and everything, y'all have that to display too, so that way they could see if we continue on after Karen's motion?
Okay. Okay,
You
so,
can make it again?
hold up here, just a moment. Chief, was that a motion that was cast and seconded?
To my understanding, there was a motion from Narcan that took precedence. If we missed that, then we can correct it at this point.
Yeah, the first motion and second motion takes precedence till that vote is taken. And if some other conversation come up,
I know, but I had that first.
that's the thing. Stay within what's germane to the motion, okay? Stay what's germane, what's attached to what the original motion and second is. That way there won't be any confusion. So let's go back to this, and if you want to make that again, then we'll go from there. This is where we're at on this item 2. And she was asking about some numbers from enrollment.
No, it was not provided to, did we get information on enrollment for this?
On how many is over 35 and eligible?
I don't know that it matters, as far as how many we have that's over 35 at this point. But,
Really? The representative that you...
well, you mean the quarterback and
Yes, because Representative Deatherage was just asking like how we got the quantum and stuff, and so we got numbers from enrollment, so I didn't know
if there's no objection as far as to that, the enrollment director is here. She has these numbers memorized in her head. As far as how many tribal members are a quarter and above and how many are not.
On the portal?
Okay, it's a part of what the handout that you received previously. Okay, let's go back to the business at hand.
Yeah,
Chief Palmer says that Representative Markham's motion took precedent, and that's what you voted on already. So even though, I don't know how 2 motions got into that.
Well, I got a second on it, I know that.
Well, what I'm talking about as far as
Somebody over there said that.
how you do things within a meeting. Let's go back to this, and if you've got that same motion, do it now. What's your motion?
Okay. Gosh, I almost forgot what I said now. Exactly. I make a motion that we take this back to the bands like we discussed here, so it can be in a more simplified format here for them to look at it clearly, because it is a little confusing to me, you know, because you're going to go from one sentence to one sentence. If they can just bullet those or something to get them to where they can look at them. And really, guys, this was on the portal. I mean, I got it off from there, and it's the blood, you got it? Yeah. I mean, it's on there, and these are facts. There's nothing we made up. I mean, that's.
And you're doing this for all the amendments, or just amendment number 2?
That was just on the portal, I don't know. No, this is for everything, this whole thing.
It's for everything?
Yeah.
Well, why do we vote on one?
I don't, because you got out of
Because
order.
the motion was made first.
I see.
Is that a motion?
I made a motion, I asked for a second.
Okay, my understanding of that particular motion is that all the amendments will go back to the bands.
The rest of them.
All the amendments, other than the first one that's already been voted on, will go back to the bands. And, you know, there's some language in that first one. If I was chairing, I would have probably touched on it.
Well, do we want to take, we already voted on
No,
that.
we already voted on that,
It's a
it's
preamble,
over with.
it's
But there's
a
certain
preamble.
things that you gotta be careful of putting in there.
Chair.
Because we're based on our sovereignty, and our sovereignty is through our people.
Chair.
That's granted to us by the Creator, the
I want to
Creator.
make clarification.
And I'm a astute Christian and believe in Almighty God, but you place that in the Constitution now, which all of our members don't align with that same belief. So you do what's more becoming of us as a gathered people. But never mind with that, it's already voted on.
Chair. Can I have the floor?
You're making a motion.
I made the motion, but I have a clarification that the board met the other night, not everybody could attend, that there was a couple that we had to leave as is and not put it in here, and that was number 8. We're just going to leave it as is, and of the members, it was striked out, we're just going to leave it as is. So we're not addressing that one. Number
Well,
8.
Actually, because that you acted upon it, it already went out in an agenda format to the general council.
Right.
It is now the general council's decision what they do with that, because it's on an agenda
Okay.
of the council.
So-
So if the council wants to make that leave as, Article 8 and Article 22 as originally written, according to the last, according to the
Article
established,
22, yeah,
to the established constitution, that's the council's decision right here.
that's fine. I just wanted to make that point. I mean, I just wanted to say.
Okay,
8:22.
okay, I'm going to explain this how it is, okay? There's a motion, and I didn't hear a second to your motion.
Yes.
There is a second?
Yes.
Okay, who was it? Leanna? Okay, second to that motion. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there a...
question?
No, we're not calling for the question. This is a living document. This is the Constitution of the Seminole Nation, and we're acting like it's some kind of comic strip. We're not. We're going to discuss this. That's why we called this meeting. Okay. And with all due respect, okay, with that suggestion from the revision committee, is there a friendly amendment to this same motion for the purpose of Article 8 and Article 22 to leave as written in the Constitution? That's how this has to be done if you want to exclude that as the council. Is there a friendly amendment to that effect? Is there a friendly amendment to the original motion that was made? Nobody else wants to address it? There's a friendly amendment by Representative Narkme. Is there a second to that? Is that accepted, that first friendly amendment? Karen? Representative Fulbright? Okay, is there a second to that friendly amendment? Article 8, Article 22. There's a second by Representative Gonzalez. So what you're voting on right now with the motion and a second unless there's some kind of objection to that, well, that's accepted by the original motion. So that's where we're at. We have the, to take all the rest of the amendments outside of the one that's already been voted on, back to the bands for their input, to be brought back to the general council. And the friendly amendment is to leave 8 and 22 as it was. So therefore, in essence, you'll be taking out amendment Article 8 and Article 22. So those won't actually be addressed at the bands either, because they're not the recommendations of the revision committee. Everybody understand that? So there's no amendment to Article 8 and Article 22. Everybody understand what we're voting on? We're taking everything, when with the friendly amendment, Article 8, Article 22, if this passes, is basically out, because there's no recommended amendments to those two articles. Okay, so they'll be actually taken out. Now does everybody understand? Okay, I see some hands. I see Representative Narkany, Representative Thunder, and Representative Hill. In that order? Representative Narkany?
Thank you. Well, not to beat a dead horse, but we've already taken this back, we've already taken this to our ban already. We've discussed it and have decided on our changes for this, and that's why we're here today, to address those issues. As far as the withdrawal of number 8 and number 22, that actually can be addressed on the floor. When that comes up, then they can withdraw it at that time. Just a thought.
We're handling it now because of the form of the motion. The motion was to take all this back to the bands, and there's no need to discuss Article 8 and Article 22 at the bands if the revision committee isn't making a recommendation for an amendment to the Constitution of the Seminole Nation.
Yes, sir.
That's how that is.
We've already discussed it at our ban.
There's a motion and a second? Great, glad you had your discussion. But that's the motion and second that's on the floor now. I had raise your hands, please, again, who asked for, it was Representative Thunder and Representative Hill. Yes, Representative Thunder?
Yes, Chair. So, my band, put me here for a reason, and that was to be their voice. And so, with all that is being brought up, it's already been discussed with our band. We are wanting to vote no on everything. However, the only thing that was at my discretion was the preamble. And that's because I serve an almighty God, just like everybody else that I know. However, I will say everything else, I will be voting no as my band persons. Thank you.
I'm just saying, and with that being said, I don't want to be misconstrued. One time when I was on the tribal council, we was voting on alcohol within our facilities and getting a license. I know I had my own personal convictions, about that. I've never been drunk or high in my life, didn't take no alcohol nor drugs, but sometimes we represent a people that are not of the same belief as we are. So you take the Seminole people as a whole with that, whenever you're doing things that govern them in a living document. So definitely I believe in Almighty God as well, so don't take that as a misconstrue. I'm trying to give some serious advice in this wording of our Constitution. Okay, Representative Hill?
Yeah, just a question, Mr. Chair. Just about everything that you see here is like articles and all that, and you got sections of them. Under what she quoted on the preamble, on section 2, about making corrections about the degree of bloodshed. All this, are they going to be coming back in the form of a resolution, or are all these 25 articles going to be corrected today, where we make changes and all that, they're going to redo the whole entire package, you want to call it a package or whatever, come back? Or?
As I understand the motion, it's to send all these recommendations of the revision committee, except for Article 8 and Article 22, back to the bands. The bands can then put their input. I would recommend that they put it in writing so that the council can address those concerns of the bands. A real good thing would, and it's not, at least, if it was a perfect world and we don't live in one, we may call some public forums too besides your band meetings, okay? That way we can bring some people that are constitutional, what I consider constitutional literate, and bring it forth and have comments from them in a public forum. That wouldn't be any necessary something the council has to take part in, but I think as the chief of the nation, chairman of the council, we will probably have a public meeting and address this besides your band. And that's not getting into your band business, that's just making some clarity on some things from a historical point of view, okay? And now it was Leetta, but she's left.
Once this is corrected and all that, it'll be coming back in December?
Well, it's not going to be necessarily corrected by that time. The bands will give their points of recommendations at that point. And really, if in a perfect world, revision committee members would have been going back to their bands and say, this is what's being discussed, this. What do you, let's say you. Well, then they send back the revision committee member there to say, wait, hold it. This is we can probably agree to, but really, we're not going to agree to anything like that. You know, like, and that's how systems are worked. You're the constituents and the mouthpiece of your band. So to say your committee of this magnitude does not have need to lend their ear to their band when these things are being comprised is foreign to me. Okay, Representative Sampson.
Okay, my understanding with her amendment was to get a better format for the people when they got ready to vote on the documents. I understand 8 and those amendments there that exclude them out of that as is. But I think a lot of us don't understand that she's trying to get it formatted where people don't have to read as much to vote. Because when you go to vote, you're not going to stand there and read the whole paragraph. You wouldn't. Is that right there?
I mean, this is, when I take it back to the band so they'll understand.
The bullet.
The bullets. And these minutes for our meetings were on the portal too, so it's, nothing was kept secret or anything. They're out there to go to the band, so.
Well, I'll leave it to your people to tell you what to do as bands. Okay. That's where we're at. We got a motion and a second and a friendly amendment. That has been accepted. Any other questions? This is taking care of everything. It's going back to the bands, and then it will come back at some time. Secretary, call the roll.
Leetta Sampson.
Yes.
Anthony Conley.
Yes.
John Narcome.
Yes.
Rena Tiger.
Yes.
Ida Gonzalez.
Yes.
Nancy Fixico.
Yes.
Leon Petit.
No.
David Narcome.
No.
Dolores Harjo.
Yes.
Karen Fulbright.
Yes.
Ann Borba.
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert.
Yes.
Sina Yeslith.
Yes.
Lottie Cootie.
Yes.
Ensign Lena.
Yes.
Richmond Larney.
Yes.
Tiffany Thunder.
No.
Catherine McCoy.
Yes.
Charlie Hill.
Yes.
Tommy Chupko.
Yes.
Danita Harjo.
Yes.
Willis Dethridge.
No.
Desiree Emerton.
No.
I have 18 yeses, 5 noes, 0 abstain.
With a count of 18 yes, 5 noes, and 0 abstentions, that measure has passed. So those items, take up the discussion with your bands on those items, and we'll address it again. That leads us to the quarterly meeting. It's beginning to have a lot of items that will be addressed at the quarterly meeting. There was a request by I think through trust fund management, speaking with maybe the representative from Theophily Band about possibly having some institutions to possibly change, and I know it would take more than just council voting on it, but at least entertain the presentations of the institutions of different investment strategies for the judgment fund monies. Obviously, everybody knows it's been yielding very, very low yields over a period of time consistently, and there are some alternatives that can be safe investments that can bring it up 2 to 3 times the return. So what I would request of the council is that December quarterly meeting, will be many things on that meeting that need to be addressed. There are 2 items that are constitutionally there. I think one item, actually, the committees that's there, that usually takes the whole morning up. I would ask if the directors are still going to be there, and right now there's a standing resolution for them to be there as well. When we have these professional investment companies come, I need to set them at a certain time where they don't necessarily have to hear all of our other discussions or wait 3.5, 4 hours before they get up to do their presentations. And it's just not good business to whatever we might ask directors, whatever we might ask committees, and with them sitting out there waiting to do their presentations. I wish we could forego the committees and the directors at the quarterly meeting so that we can take care of business of the Seminole Nation. But that's really up to you when we get to that point. But I'd like some direction as your chair. I see Representative Dethridge and Representative Petit. Representative Dethridge.
Yes, before we adjourn, I've got 2 items that I would like for somebody to give some an update at our quarterly meeting. That would be TR 24-44. It was $100,000 that the council appropriated for furnishings at the Veterans Center. I'd like to know where we stand on that as far as the financials. And travel resolution 2024-48, I think, was for the aquaponics farm on the 29 acres. So if somebody can give us an update on those 2 items at December quarterly, I'd appreciate it immensely. Thank you.
Representative Petit.
Chair, I know this council has the ability to rearrange the agenda at any time, so as you've mentioned about these people that have potential business conflicts or time constraints, because, you know, we get caught up on directors and committee meetings. Like, would it be appropriate for us today to move the agenda around today for the next meeting, the December meeting, so that we could have those people that you've mentioned speak to us first? Because, you know, normally it's just from 10 to 12.
What we could do is on the December quarterly meeting is to suspend the order of the agenda and allow them to come and speak in their presentations if the council wants to go that way. Then we keep the regular order of the meeting continuing. But we do that at that quarterly meeting.
Okay, well, I mentioned that today simply because in the event that those guys are going to take up a couple hours, why should we have those people that are directors and committee members here on site? If they have other things to do that morning, then they could come after lunch. And that's
And we
all.
normally have them come after lunch. The committees also take up a considerable amount of time. But we can do it at that meeting. If the council, we'll plan on it. If there's no objections to have those presentations in the morning, if the council will consider going out of the order of the agenda when we come together on December the 7th. So
we can vote on that morning then.
I'll plan it that way with these presenters.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Hoping that the council carries through with what we just discussed. Representative Lambert.
I really hate wasting our directors' time, and then we
try to get it back from them later. But why can't we just request which directors and committees that we want ahead of time, so that way we don't have them all sitting out here and wasting their time as well as ours? We have, we get our agenda, 10 days in advance, and we can, and we all know, we get those reports in advance. If you have questions, or if they don't turn in a report, you have a few days that you can request them, and at least request them by Thursday.
Right now, there's a standing resolution that requires them to be at every quarterly meeting. I do know that there are some bands that's going to request that be repealed and go back to the original whenever a director has business on the agenda of the general council for them to be here.
Can we do that now? Can we just?
We don't have it under other business, but.
Okay, well, for this meeting, can we just request the ones that we, or do you want them all to be here?
Let's make them suffer one more meeting, that got
The reason I say that is there is an existing standing resolution that is contrary to what you were suggesting, which doesn't mean that your suggestion is not a good suggestion. I actually think it has some merit, but it stops it because of that resolution that's in place. Unless that's repealed, then it would be in place to recommend something of that nature. Okay, let's continue on because we're through with the business of the day for right now. Representative Cootie.
I just have a request. As you know, every year I give out baskets for Thanksgiving. We do that again, and if any of you wants a donation to give, let me know. It can be gift certificate or canned goods, any donation you think that people buy. Usually I get cake mix, icing. My son usually gets chicken because everybody eats chicken, and so we usually put chicken in. It depends on the family. If it's a big family, we put 2 chicken in and extra canned goods and stuff like that. So I did this one year, and I requested from the council, and it was a big disappointment. Some of you didn't even contact and say we can't do it or whatever. I hope we can be better this time. And again, I will be starting at least next week to start my donation and get the baskets ready. So last year, I think we did about 30 baskets. And so it's always appreciated. And I know that there are people that, could use it. And some of us are better off to serve our family and have good dinner with them. So I always think about people out there that are in need. So I am requesting again, if you would like to donate, my number, if you want to take it, is 386-569-6345. You can give me a call. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for that announcement. I do want to reiterate, because there was some concern from the council floor when we took the measure for all the other amendments to be taken back to the bands, and there was already one that was voted on. There is a manner and a direction and how it could be addressed if you want to send that first amendment back to the bands as well. And that is somebody from the winning side make a motion for reconsideration, and it takes 2/3 of the vote, and that way the bands can look at all the amendments. Now that is how you would do that in the same meeting that we are in to do that. It's somebody from the winning side, and that means the ones that was in favor of that willing to take that measure back to the bands as well, so that we'll be totally in, so they can look at everything. I'm just directing you how it can be done. I'm not asking you to do it. Representative Petit.
Chair, I would take your recommendation. I'm sorry I didn't catch all of it because I didn't hear it, but.
You're making a motion to reconsider that first item?
Yes,
Okay.
second part.
And there's a second. Does everyone understand what's happening? Basically, what's happening is in a decor of a meeting, there can be a reconsideration on something that's already has been voted on, right? That reconsideration comes from somebody from the winning side asking for the reconsideration to be addressed. Now, I'm going to tell you, it takes a big vote to be able to have it reconsidered, okay? It's just not the majority, all right? So if you want to be uniform on how you're sending things back to your bands, your people, the Seminole people, then you vote in order of this reconsideration. And it's, I think we ought to be uniform when we're talking about the Constitution of the Seminole Nation. Representative Yitzlis.
Who made the motion again in the second?
Representative Petit
Tommy Chupko.
and Representative Chepko. Now, this will keep all these amendments in uniform. You can discuss them all with your bands except Article 8 and Article 22. Yes, this is a reconsideration to bring it back to a vote, and ultimately, if this was to pass, you'll include it with all those other amendments going back to the bands, okay? It's not some, pulling the hood over you. I'm just giving you an option, okay? Because there was some concern about it after the vote had taken place. Representative Yitzlis, okay. Everybody understand what we're doing? We're reconsidering that first one. It takes a supermajority now. Okay, 2/3. Secretary, call the roll.
Leatta Sampson.
Yes.
Anthony Conley.
Yes.
John Narcome.
Yes.
Rena Tiger.
Yes.
Ida Gonzalez.
Yes.
Nancy Fixico.
Yes.
Leon Petit.
Yes.
David Narcome.
Yes.
Joseph Billy. Dolores Harjo.
Yes.
Karen Fulbright.
Yes.
Ann Borba.
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert.
Yes.
Sina Yeslith.
Yes.
Lottie Cootie.
Yes.
Henson Lena.
Yes.
Richmond Larney.
Yes.
Tiffany Thunder.
Yes.
Catherine McCoy.
Yes.
Charlie Hill.
Yes.
Tommy Chupko.
Yes.
Danita Harjo.
Yes.
Willis Dethridge.
No.
Desiree Emerton. I have 21 yeses, 1 no, 0 abstain.
With a count of 21 yes, 1 no, and 0 abstentions, I declare that reconsideration has passed. Now we need to go back with an actual motion to include that with the other items to go back to the bands. And that's the first one, which is the preamble of the Constitution. So I entertain a motion to that effect. Representative Petit?
Chair, I make a motion that amendment number 1, the preamble, go back to the bands and be reconsidered.
Okay, along with the others in exact form, yes. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Sampson. Okay, this is just reaffirming what you did with your reconsideration, okay? And all items that the revision committee has sent as recommendations will be back to the bands for discussion, okay? Secretary, call the roll.
Leatta Sampson.
Yes.
Anthony Conley.
Yes.
John Narcome.
Yes.
Rena Tiger.
Yes.
Ida Gonzalez.
Yes.
Nancy Fixico.
Yes.
Leon Petit.
Yes.
David Narcome.
Yes.
Dolores Harjo.
Yes.
Karen Fulbright.
Yes.
Ann Borba.
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert.
Yes.
Sina Yeslith.
Yes.
Lottie Cootie.
Yes.
Henson Lena.
Yes.
Richmond Larney.
Yes.
Tiffany Thunder.
Yes.
Catherine McCoy.
Yes.
Charlie Hill.
Yes.
Tommy Chupko.
Yes.
Danita Harjo.
Yes.
Willis Dethridge.
No.
Desiree Emerton.
No.
I have 21 yeses, 2 noes, 0 abstain.
With a count of 21 yes, 2 no, 0 abstentions, I declare that has passed. So all the proposed amendments by the Constitutional Revision Committee, except for Article 8 and Article 22, will now go back to the bands for discussion. So that's the order of business for today. I appreciate the council conducting the business that was conducted. Representative Petit.
Chair, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. If there's no objections to adjournment, we're going to call, any objections? Okay, no objections. I call this meeting to be adjourned at 11:54, and I'm going to ask for prayer. And Representative Lena, would you lead us in that prayer?
Concerning our tribe, Lord, we just pray for guidance for this committee, Father. We just pray to continue to do the hard work that is so important for our tribe to move forward, Lord. Again, Father, just thank you again for each vote that was given today, Father. Thank you for the ones that was in the audience, Lord. We ask continued blessings upon this tribe, Father. Father, be with us as we depart, Father, and may we stay together once again, Father. We give you all the praise and glory. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen.
That's how you go full circle. I've never seen a lead
Hey everybody, there's a lot of activity going across the road, so go support them. Johnson O'Malley, there's also all kinds of activity. Go check it all out. I'm sure there's some good things to see and possibly good food to eat.
Yeah.